This is The Wire for 2030 Zulu, December 11th, 2023. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 1930. Bottom line up front. Tensions increase in the Red Sea. Ukraine peace talks likely to begin in January. Beginning with international events, in the Red Sea, Yemen announces what amounts to a blockade of the Red Sea for all Israeli-affiliated shipping. Yemeni forces have claimed they will target all commercial shipping owned by or affiliated with Israeli companies. Analysts comment. It is unclear as to what Yemen's standards are for shipping being Israeli-affiliated. Throughout this conflict so far, many groups opposed to Israel have targeted American forces, such as American military bases in Iraq and Syria, or other nations that are in some way linked to Israel. Adding in international shipping norms complicates the situation further. Commercial shipping, on any given day, is a grand shell game. It is rare for a ship to be registered in the nation that it supplies. For instance, the merchant vessel Galaxy Leader, the first ship captured by Yemeni forces, has a rather confusing history. The vessel itself physically carries the flag of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, a former British colony. This vessel was chartered by a Japanese company, NYK, to transport vehicles. The vessel is owned by Ray Car Carriers, which, despite being registered as a business in the Isle of Man, was founded by an Israeli business magnate. Regarding the crew physically operating the vessel, 17 members of the crew are Filipino, and the rest are from an assortment of nations such as Romania, Ukraine, Bulgaria, and so on. In the case of this one ship, at least a dozen nations are involved at some point regarding the operation of this vessel. This means that it's rather difficult to determine what Yemen's criteria is for a vessel being Israel-affiliated, which in turn increases the risk for virtually all commercial shipping transiting the Red Sea. On the European front, in Switzerland, several media groups have announced the scheduling of peace talks regarding the Ukrainian war. During his visit to Argentina, Ukrainian President Zelensky floated the idea that peace talks will begin at the World Economic Forum the day before that event gets underway in January. Analysts comment. If these claims are true, the peace talks taking place at such an infamous organization clearly sends a message as to the controlling interests at play regarding a post-war Ukraine. On the home front, in the United States, the Department of Defense announces the implementation of the Arms Export Control Act, or AECA, to send arms to Israel. This act allows the Department of Defense to bypass the normal process and send arms to Israel without congressional approval. In this case, this law is allegedly being used to send tank shells to Israel, though without congressional oversight there is little confirmation of any of these details. Analyst comments for this wire. As mentioned before, the information warfare that the Western world has experienced regarding the Ukrainian war has been overwhelming. As such, after years of such efforts, reality will be surprising to many. For years, the official narrative has essentially been, Ukraine is winning, Russia is about to surrender. It will be rather shocking for many people to learn that the inverse has always been a more accurate depiction of the truth. Right now, Ukraine's capitulation is not an if, but when. Consequently, events in the international arena will likely happen rather quickly, as no one really knows what a peace deal might look like. Generally speaking, theories abound regarding if a peace deal will include the loss of territory, but this scenario is quite likely and almost certain for districts that have been under Russian control for some time. Another major factor in question is a problem faced by all military occupations. When peace breaks out, thousands of troops and billions of dollars will no longer be tied down by operations. As it has become socially acceptable to theorize that the military-industrial complex has largely been the driving force behind this war, in a case of peace, those efforts will require another conflict to support. For those not concerned with the conflict in Ukraine, it is this factor that may have direct consequences for the home front. This concludes The Wire for 2030 Zulu, December 11th, 2023.